After a day's break, I'm very pleased to be back to report to you on day 5 of the Plenary Council of the Church of Australia. I should mention that we did actually yesterday have a day of reflection, which I found very, very helpful, just to draw breath, if you like, to pause for a little while in what was a fairly intense program every day, to reflect on where we've got to and to look at how the Plenary Council is developing. So I found that helpful to have some time. However, during the day there was a special session that was planned. It went actually for 3 hours. It was a time in which the Plenary Council did give consideration to the sexual abuse crisis and its impact on the church. And in particular, we were asked to look at the whole process of healing going forward from the sexual abuse crisis. It was a difficult day. I found it difficult because we were confronted once again with the immense suffering that people have endured through being sexually abused by some members from the church. So it's difficult to revisit that situation, but a necessary thing we had to do because it's a reality for the church at this particular time. What came through to me particularly was, if you like, we need to move to a phase where we give more attention to healing. Healing is often just by listening to people who suffered. Healing is also a recognition of what's happened in people's lives. So that was good to have done that. It was very, very difficult, maybe at times even quite harrowing, to revisit experiences of child sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. So that day, while very difficult, was necessary because it is part of our recent history in the Catholic Church here in Australia. This morning, when we met after our opening prayer, the president of the conference addressed us, Archbishop Tim Costello from Perth, and he gave us an update on the procedures for the last 2 days. What he spoke about very simply was he wanted the small groups to develop specific proposals and recommendations that would then be all gathered together, and then the drafting committee, along with the steering committee of the Plenary Council, would then begin to formulate materials for the second assembly, which will take place in July 2022. So we were urged then to start drawing up concrete recommendations and proposals. So that became a strong focus for our afternoon session, which I'll speak about a little bit later. The next thing, of course, we did, as we do each day, is we had report backs from the small groups. So these would be the groups that met on Wednesday. And while many of the issues had already been canvassed and were referred to, a couple of new things emerged. There was one group that gave more attention to issues around ecology and particularly spoke about ecological conversion. There was also a session devoted to the formation of seminarians, and we heard a report from one of the small groups on that particular question. And also the issue of synodality and co-responsibility in the church also received some particular emphasis in the reports that we listened to today. And finally, the report on Catholic education particularly focused in on the importance of formation of staff. And so we heard them speak about their reflections on the need to give staff stronger formation, particularly in faith, that they're able to be more effective in presenting, witnessing to and encouraging the Catholic identity in our Catholic schools. So following the report back from the small groups, we then had the time of various interventions. This time we were told that there were 49 interventions presented to the for presentation. Obviously 49 was quite impossible. All the interventions were to be written, and so they would all make up the contributions to the Plenary Council. We were able to get through 18, so it was quite an achievement, and so we heard 18 interventions. I must say within a period of 1 hour it was quite intense, but again there were some very good and very useful interventions from a number of people. Some of the things that really impressed me, particularly ones that I felt were very significant, certainly in terms of my own understanding of the needs of the church in Australia, was there were a number of presentations on parishes, and there was a very good presentation on the missionary orientation of parishes, which was our subject area in our small group. There was also a presentation about parishes being able to reflect three particular qualities: love, truth and beauty. I thought a very insightful reflection on how parishes can, through these three qualities, really become a parish that attracts and engages people. We also heard a rather impassioned plea for the needs of parishes in remote and rural dioceses, particularly the need for priests in these remote areas. And the expression in one place of one man said, "I just need a priest to be with me when I'm dying." A very heartfelt presentation on the needs of rural dioceses. Once again, there were a number of presentations on marriage, and again, some very beautiful presentations on promoting the beauty and dignity of marriage and family life, talking about marriage, but talking about it in terms of the sacrament of matrimony, talking about the importance of chastity as being a basis for a sound and healthy and life-giving marriage. As well as that, we heard somebody speak about the importance of the recognition of people who have a vocation or see themselves as having a vocation to a single life in the church, and felt that they're often overlooked and not appreciated. There was also a presentation about the ways in which parishes can engage with young people, a report on a particular parish community that has developed a Children of Mary group for young primary school students, which has been running for many years and has been very, very successful. Finally, there were two presentations that I thought were very significant. One was talking about the fact that we need to move not in our time, but in God's time. It reminded to us that as a plenary council, we don't have to solve all the problems, but we have to be attentive to the fact that God is working, and maybe what our time is different to what God's time is. I thought a very good insight. Another presentation took up the idea of looking at the Blessed Virgin Mary as one who is able to bring sometimes opposites into unity, and spoke particularly about the need for us to find a convergence from people with different positions. And the idea was that perhaps in the Blessed Virgin Mary we can find a model for how opposites can be actually brought together into a harmony, or at least a sense of mutual respect. So again, I think there was a lot that came out of the intercessions today, the interventions today. Then in the afternoon we met for our small group sharing, again a 2-hour session together. Our group has been fairly united in a common sense of what is important, and we were particularly looking at how parishes can develop. And one of the ideas that I think was expressed a couple of times to say, if parishes do not develop a missionary orientation, they will die. A very strong, but I think very true statement. Recognition that parishes need to change. And this was the subject of our 2-hour reflection this evening, and we developed quite a number of recommendations and proposals around the ways that parishes really need to develop a missionary orientation. And we feel this will be a particular contribution I think our group will be able to make to the plenary process. In particular, the idea is that parishes need to address the question of developing a strong missionary orientation, and the particular proposal we want to emphasise was that parishes actually develop a mission or a leadership team that is focused upon mission, is focused upon the ways in which the parish can reach out and bring others to Christ, bring people into the life of the parish community. I think our group came to a very good place in the end of our meetings, and we'll finalise things tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of the plenary. Things will be much as usual. However, we'll be finishing a little early. We'll be moving the program up a little bit. We'll be having our small group sharing, but it'll be a little bit earlier in the day. And then the plenary will finish in the late afternoon with the final presentation by the President and then statements about where things will go from here. So tomorrow I'll be able to report to you on the conclusion to this very historic and very significant moment for the Church in Australia, the Plenary Council 2021.